Hey there, this is Krishna and I welcome you to another tutorial of CodeEra. So in today's tutorial, we will be learning how to create this burger loading animation effect, and this is completely going to be created using just HTML and pure CSS. No JavaScript or any further variations of CSS will be used in this tutorial. So before getting started, if you are new to my channel, I want you to hit that subscribe button and even press that bell icon so you get notified whenever a new video is uploaded on my channel. And so without any further delay, let's get started. For first, we will start by creating these elements using our HTML, and for that I will open up my Visual Studio Code editor, and in this tutorial we will be coding and simultaneously we will also be looking at the output of our code. So for that I will arrange the Visual Studio Code editor and the Chrome browser where we are going to look at our output. So for that I'm gonna position it at the left of my screen, and on the right of my screen I'm gonna position my Chrome browser just like this. So let me just position it perfectly. Okay, so this much width is fine, and for this, okay, so we are done with it. So let me just close this activity bar by hitting Ctrl B, which is the shortcut key for my VS Code editor. You can set your shortcut key as you like. So here in the index.html file, I'm gonna type exclamation and hit enter. So the VS Code editor will provide us a boilerplate so that we don't need to write all these lines of codes. So leaving these all things apart, let me just start by creating our elements. And for the first, I'm gonna create a div element with the class burger. So this is going to be our parent element, and inside this element I'm going to include all the other stuffs, that is the content of our burger. So I will start by creating a span element with a class bun and also the top, and some more span element with the class content, onion, and here inside this onions element I'm going to include two more span element which are going to be our slices of the onion. So let me just do that by writing span dot slice multiplied by 2. So this gives us two span element with the class slice. So next I will include another span element with the class content and cucumber and hit enter. So instead of writing these span elements again and again, I will just copy this from here and paste it for the multiple times. So let me just check how many of them I need. So here let me change the second class name from cucumber to leaf, and this one from cucumber to cheese, and here the patty. So this last span element is going to be the second slice of our bun, that is bun and bottom, as we have given the class name for the top slice of the bun to bun and top. The same way I have given the bun and bottom for the second slice of our burger. So let me just save it. Here we are not seeing any content on our web page. This is because we have just included the div elements and the span element in our HTML. and we have not included any text or any kind of formats that can display into our web page. So for displaying the burger, we need to style these each and every element one by one. First, let me just change this title from document to burger loading animation and save it. And next, let's begin by styling our elements. And for that, I will type in link, which is the tag used to include the style.css file into our HTML. And here in the href attribute, I'm gonna give the value style.css. So what this particular line of code will do is, whatever the styling I give to these elements will be reflected on our web page through this HTML page. So now let's jump to the style.css file, and here I am going to begin with the universal selector asterisk and set the margin to 0 and also padding to 0, and next another property, that is the box sizing, to border box. So here you don't need to give more attention to these lines of codes. These are just the basic lines that I usually include, and you must also need to include whenever you create a web page. And an extra line of code to our HTML by setting the default font size to 62.5%. So the only benefit I see here for including this particular line is that I can use the rem property while styling or while giving a particular size to my elements. So now let's start with actual CSS. So we will start by styling our body and give it a background color of light golden rod yellow. So let me just save it. So did you see that? As soon as I saved the style.css file, the property or the effect got reflected on my web page. This is because I have included the CSS file into my HTML. This is indirectly reflecting the styles that I am giving to my elements. So next we will target our burger element, and for that I will just copy the class name from here and target it in the CSS file by writing dot burger. Okay, so now let me just give it a width of 30 rem and then a background color of white and also a height of 30 rem. Okay, so here you can see that a square box is being displayed here with the background color white. So first let me just position this particular box to the center of my web page, and for that I am going to use the popular technique of transformation, that is the transform property, and translate -50% from the x direction and -50% from the y direction. So let me just check, Ctrl S to save. Okay, so you could possibly see that the size of our square box is been reduced, but that is not the case. As we have given the negative values, the box has translated it from its actual position. So let me just get this box at the center, and I will do that by setting the position to absolute and move 50% from the top and 50% from the left. Here these three lines of code had moved my box from the top left corner to the center of the page. So let me just show you how absolutely center this box is. So you can see that however I resize the browser window, the box remains at the center of my page. So that is the trick that I always use while mostly creating the responsive designs. So now let's get started by filling our burger with the content. So first I will target the bun element. And give it a wheat color background. Here I am using the hex code for the wheat color and set a width of 16 rem. Now I will target the top slice of my burger by writing the dot top. And now I will set the height to 7 rem and give it a border radius of 10 rem from the top left, 10 rem from the top right, 0.5 rem from the bottom left and 0.5 rem from the bottom right. And let me just save it. Okay, so yet we are unable to see anything. This is because I haven't set the display property of our span element, which is to be set to block. So let me just do it by targeting the each and every span element of our parent element burger. So for that, so let me just type in display and set it to block. So now we are able to see the top slice of our burger, and I want this particular element or all the other element of my burger to be perfectly aligned at the center of this square box. So for that I will set the margin to 0 and auto. So the span element will perfectly center itself by dividing the margin on its left and right part. So now let me just remove this white background and the height of the box, as I don't need them anymore. So I will just comment them out and Ctrl S, and now the slice is at the center. Now let me go on with the other parts of my burger. And the next comes is the onions, and I will give them a width of 13 rem and a height of 1 rem. And here I am not going to set the background color directly to the onions. Instead I will set the background color to the slices that I have included into my onion element. So let's do that and set the background color to a light purplish, and here also I am going to use the hexa code, that is the E7574A, and then give them a width of 4 rem and a height of 1 rem. So let me just check it out. Okay, so they yet not visible, so I think I need to set the display to inline block. Okay, so both the slices of my onions are visible now. So let me set the margin so they can be perfectly aligned at the center, and I'm going to set it to 0 and 1 rem. So now they are perfectly aligned, and also give them a border radius of 2 pixels, which is not actually to be visible, but when we zoom in into the burger we could actually see the changes. So here you can see the border radius of 2 pixels, but it actually looks nice when you give a border radius to any element. And now next comes the cucumber. And for this I'm going to set the height to 1 rem and a width of 16 rem and a background color of dark green with the hex code #005A00. So let's check it out. Okay, so here it is. So next comes the leaf. We will give it a height of 1 rem and a width of 18 rem and a border radius of 1 rem. It must be the border radius, not the border. Okay, so the border radius is set to 1 rem, and of course the background color to a light green, that is the 0F B5 0F. So let's check it out. So here you can see just right below this cucumber a light green colored leaf. And next comes the cheese. Before going to cheese, let me tile the patty. So I want a width of 18 rem and a height of 3 rem, as I personally like a thick fat patty on my burger. So I have given the height of 3 rem to it and a background color of brown, that is also going to be in the hash code or the hex code 7B5D04. Let me just save it, and here comes our patty, which is not in actual good shape. So let me just give it a border radius of 3 rem. So here it comes into its shape. So next let me include the cheese and give it a height of 2 rem, a width of 16 rem, a background, a light yellowish background with #FFCC33. So here you can see the cheese. It's not the actual shape that I want for my cheese. So let me just do it by using the clip path property and set the polygon. I don't want my cheese to be placed right in between this leaf and the patty. Instead, I want my cheese to be laying down on this patty. So for that, I will shape it into an inverted triangle. And for that, so let me pass some values, that is 100% from the top left, 50% and 100% from the center, 0 and 0 from the left, and 0 and 0 from the right. So let me just check it out. Okay, so here this property has given me a inverted triangle shape to my cheese. So let me just place this cheese on my patty, and I will do it by setting the position to absolute. And then so here the cheese has gone out of the bond, so I will just place this on the center of my patty, and for that I will set the left property to 7 rem. So let me just save it. Okay, so here you can see that the cheese on my patty is perfectly placed. So now it's time to include the last part of our burger, that is the bottom slice or the second slice of the bun. So let me just do it by targeting the bottom class and set border radius of 1 rem from the top left, 1 rem from the top right, 10 rem from the bottom left, and 10 rem from the bottom right. So I think I've forgotten to give something else. I think the height, that is the 3 rem. Okay, so here we go. So we have also got the second slice of our bun. Here we are done with creating our burger. So now it's time to give the animation effect to this burger. So before moving to the animation part of this video, if you like my work, I want you to hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithm can understand and push me up a little bit. So without wasting any time, let's get into our tutorial and finish off the animation part. And for that, I will set the animation property where I have targeted the parent element, that is the burger. And here in the animation property, I will set the animation name to animate and set a duration of 10 seconds. And as I want the animation to carry on for the infinite times, so I will set the infinite, and the animation should be in such a way that the animation should start with the speed and continue its work and get back to its original position. So for that, I am going to use the as in out property. So we are done with calling the animation property. So now it's time to add the keyframes to our code. So we will do it by calling the keyframes and giving the identifier name, that is the animation name, which is animate. And I want my animation to start from the 0%. So targeting the 0% and setting the top to 50%. So let me just save it and let's see what will happen. Okay, so the burger has moved from its original position to the top negative position, as I have passed here the negative value. So next, I want my burger to come back to its original position with a smooth animation effect and set the top property to 50% again. So you can see that how the animation worked. So the burger will not move until the duration of 10 seconds, and once it gets over, the burger will get back to the negative position of the top. So next, I want that floating animation on my burger when the burger comes here and remains for around 8 to 9 seconds at the center of the page. And for that floating animation, I will target the different percentage of my animation effect and use the transform property to get that floating animation. First, I will translate it to -50% from the x direction and -50% from the y direction. This is because I want my burger to remain at the center of the page, and add another property, that is the translate from the y direction, and set it to 3 rem. So let's check it out. Possibly you may not be able to see the actual animation what it's going on here. So let me just copy these lines of code and paste it for the multiple times like this, and set the translate y to 0 rem for the 30%, and for the 40% let me just leave it to 3 rem. So here you can see the first float. So it came back here, it moved slightly upwards and came back to the position, and then it will get back to its position. So I want that reverting animation. So I will just paste multiple lines of code in here for the different percentage part of my animation. That is the 50%, next goes the 60%, the 70 and the 80, 70 and the 80. Here I also need to change the value of these translate y property from 0 to 3, and here also from 0 to 3. So now you may get that animation effect. So here you can see the floating animation of my burger. So as the animation completes, the burger gets back to the top of this page. So I want that reverting smooth animation, and for that I will just copy this from here and paste it in here and set the 90%. We could see the animation, so let me just save it. So here, enjoy the animation. So let me just reduce the duration to 5 seconds. Okay, so here you can see the floating, so it gets back to its origin position. So this was all about that I wanted to teach you in this tutorial. So this was all about that I wanted to show you in this tutorial. So I think you liked the tutorial, and if you did, I want you to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I want you to subscribe and also press that bell icon so you get notified for the future videos on my channel. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. So I will get back to you with a new tutorial. So till then, take care. Bye bye.